welcome to Applicata Biblia. My name is Mark. Today we're going to talk a little bit about a new playlist I'm putting together about good study habits. Now, as you can see, I've got a laptop in front of me. We're gonna do something today, and I'll put some screenshots on there to kind of help us along with what I think is a very important tool that everybody should have if you have a computer. And it is invaluable to me in my everyday study. And we'll get into the why here in a second. So what is this tool that I'm talking about? This to me is if you first get a Bible, get one of these, and read it. And if you're not sure, what to read, because if you read from the beginning to the end, that's a good thing, but I don't know how much you're going to learn. If you have a general understanding of what the Bible is, then that's good to read from beginning to end. If, however, you just want to learn about Christianity, I would start, and I've said this before, I would read Mark, the book of Acts, and then I think I would probably look at 1st and 2nd Corinthians, because the book of Mark talks about Jesus' life and what he does. The book of Acts talks about what happens when Jesus is gone and how the Holy Spirit reveals what his mission is for us. And then when you look at 1st and 2nd Corinthians, that basically talks about how brothers and sisters should respond to one another, how a church is to conduct itself. The Corinthian church was steeped in all kinds of arrogance, and people thought they were better than others, and Paul just pretty much implodes that whole idea. So those are very important to get a jump on it. But in order to understand all of the Bible, that takes a lot of study, and I would think that starting from the beginning to the end is good, but understanding how God dispenses His word is another good way to understand that, and that is in the Walk Through the Bible series that I have. It is something that was taught to me by Barry Kirchhoff very early on, and it's important to understand these things, how God speaks to his, and has spoken to his creation throughout time. Okay, so what is this great tool that I'm talking about? Well, I'm talking about eSword. Now, eSword's been around a long time, and it's an invaluable tool in my mind. It's one of the most important tools that a person can have who is on the go, who has a computer, who maybe you can just put it on your phone. It's available now for Droid and iPhones. Well, what's the big deal about it? Well, the big deal about it is this. You know what? Let me show you first how to do this. First, you want to go to your computer and you want to just Google search eSword, right? Just put it in there, and there it comes right up. eSword Free Bible Study for the PC. Just go directly there. I would say put it on your PC before you put it on your phone, because the PC is a lot easier to use. Then you're going to see. When you get to the landing page, it says download. So you go to the download, and right now they're at version 13.0.0, install. And just install that, okay? And then when you install it, it's going to ask you, what books you want, right? So, of course you want Bibles, right? And I don't get a lot of different Bibles. I read this version here. What version is it? I really don't. This is the New American Standard. I don't like it a whole lot. I do like it because it's readable. So for reading, it's great, right? The New American Standard, fine. You got to be careful of some of the interpretations in there. But for study, that's something different. Now, for studying, for me anyway, in my own mind, I open up eSword, right? I have my reading Bible, and then I open up eSword, and it opens up, and I'm opening it up now, and I'll give you a screenshot of it. And you can see I've got the American Standard, the CEV, the King James Plus, the LITV, and the YTL, and then there's a compare and parallel, okay? Which I never use. I don't even know what the YLT version is. Who knows? Young's something, I don't know. But these are the versions that I get for study. They're pretty old. And I like that because when you get into the King James is not an interpretation. It is a translation. And basically it takes every word and translates that word. And I'm going to show you that's what the King James is, and it's an old language, and it's really hard to read sometimes. But that's not the point. You're not reading, you're studying. There's a big difference. And the thing that I absolutely love about this is what they call the KJV Plus, King James Version Plus. Plus what? Well, it's the Strong's Dictionary, Concordance. This guy Strong's took every single word in the scriptures and assigned a definition to it. And you can go in here and you find definitions for every single word in the scriptures. Amen. I'm telling you, there's nothing more powerful than that. Because he gets down to the Hebrew definition and he'll tell you not only what the definition of the word is, but he'll give you what the root word means. And this is so important because so many times these languages depend on context. And a lot of times by the time the teaching gets to us, the context can be lost. But when you look at the reality of it, the reality is context. It's all context driven, and it's important to understand these things. So when I say something like, and I say this all the time, divorce yourself from everything you've been taught and study. That's what I'm talking about. Forget what the pastor said, or remember what he said, but look it up and see how close he was, or she was, if you're doing that, to see how close they are to the reality of the words, the way they were meant to be understood. That is so important, because if we're not doing that, we're just listening to some guy talk, like me. Don't just listen to what I say, look it up. Look it up for yourself and prove it. You have to prove these things to yourself. Again, your salvation is not my problem, it's your problem. I want to help you. But you're the one who has to take care of this for yourself. Don't let somebody else do it for you. So let me see if I can find an example here real quick. You know what? I'm going to go to, I should have gotten something ready, but I'm just going to go to Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, okay? Let's look up that word beginning. Now you look at it at the KJV Plus, Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, there's 3 words there, right? There's 3 words there. Oh, there's 3 words. Well, there's only one word to describe in the beginning, right? So let's look and see what that is. There's a number there, 27H, 7225. That means the Hebrew word for that was number 7225 in Strong's Concordance Dictionary. And What do we find out about that? Well, it's Hebrew, right? That's why there's an H. Now, when you get to the New Testament, it's G because it's Greek, okay? So now you're getting some deep dive here. There's only one word there. What does that word mean? It means the first, right? It means in place, time, order, or rank. Specifically, a first fruit, beginning, chief, first, the principal thing. So when the brothers were looking at this, how do we interpret this into English? Now, it was very old English in the day, King James, 1600s, right? Something like that. How do we say this? Well, was it first fruits? Well, no, not first fruits. Because the context is God creating the heaven and the earth. So when is it? Is it the first? It's the first, yeah. Well, how else do we say that so somebody can understand it? We say in the beginning. So that is how things work. And when you start getting into other words, and we're not going to get into any more, but you'll see that words have more power and more meaning a lot of times than the way they were simply put for simplicity of reading. And that is where your study will take you. One other thing, when you're looking at this description, it says it's from the same as 7218. Well, what does 7218 mean? Well, these words are used interchangeably. It means to shake. It means the head. It means whether literally or figuratively in time, place, or rank. The beginning, the captain, the chief. So this is how they got to that point where it is the beginning. So that's my recommendation. If you want to study, which means not just reading, but looking to gain more understanding of what you're reading, this is one of the best tools that you can get. Now, obviously, you're not going to, you're going to get some words and go, well, I guess it just means what it means. And a lot of times that's all it is. But there are other times when you're going to get into it and you go, wow, I've been taught that this means this and this. But when I'm looking at the word, it actually means something else. And that is where study will help you the most. So I think that's it. Get this eSword. Now, if you can throw them a few bucks, do that too. That helps them to be able to continue on with what they're doing. They offer this for free. It doesn't cost you anything. And it could benefit you way more than anything you can buy. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you later.